Hi, welcome to Lawrence, Kansas. It's great to see you Motorhome Diaries guys here. So you were asking me about where I come from on this whole not being interested in any more government, and actually a whole lot less. The history of that is that I used to be interested in space. I was part of a group called the L5 Society back in 1977, which was interested in colonizing space. And so for a long time, everybody else was talking about how we were going to support NASA, and NASA was going to get us out there. And I never thought that was going to work. So I always wanted to get involved in the commercial space industry to launch satellites as a business. And I went to business school for that down in Houston and found a job with a company in Houston called Space Services, which was launching private rockets. And I did that for a while. We launched some rockets out at White Sands, and it was always commercial. We were never allowed to have any government payloads because the government hated us because we were competing with the shuttle. And then in 1990, I had this great idea with some friends of mine to get a contract with the Soviet Union to put an American on the space station Mir, because the Japanese were doing that with a journalist, and we thought, well, we'll just raffle it off. We'll just have a sweepstakes. Anyone can enter, and then anybody can have a chance to fly in space. And indeed, hundreds of thousands of people called our 900 number. 50,000 people sent us letters, and this was just in the first week. And as soon as we announced this, the government came down on us like a ton of bricks. They accused us of felony gambling promotion of a lottery. They said that we were evil and that, you know, what we were doing was wrong. And they said we didn't have a contract with the Soviets. The Soviets said otherwise, and so then they had to go back on that and say, well, it's not fraud, but it is illegal gambling promotion. And I was charged with an undetermined number of counts of this crime that carries with it a 5-year sentence for each count and a $10,000 fine. So if they'd ever found our phone lists when they raided our office, if they'd looked on the bookshelf, they would have found the phone list, and they would have found all 675,000 counts. And so you can do the math. I would have been in jail forever, and I would have paid them an infinite amount of money. And that clarified for me that I wasn't living in a free country. About 5 months later, they dropped the charges because they had put us out of business. And in the agreed injunction, they demanded that we agree not to ever run a sweepstakes in Texas. But sweepstakes are legal in Texas. So they were enjoining us from doing illegal activity, and that was basically them admitting that we had been doing a perfectly lawful activity the whole time. And it just really pissed me off. So I began looking for a free country in 1991. And I am still looking for a free country. I've been to Europe. I worked with a guy in Holland named Michael van Natten. We went to Somalia, where he has some friends and family, and we were trying to form a free port there. I was there in 98, 2000, 2001, and as you know, bad things happened in 2001, and General Tommy Franks said, well, the next thing NATO should do is bomb all the port facilities in Somalia. And so that was kind of the end of our Freeport project. And that also clarified for me that, you know, I need to do whatever I'm doing in a culture that I understand, in a country where I can have friends and support. And Somalia wasn't that for me, so I gave up on the Somalia project after that. And the way I arrived at agorism is basically by reading J. Schulman's book, Alongside Night, and thinking about it for about 20 years, and concluding that there wasn't, because I was actually reading science fiction when it came out, so it was just like another science fiction novel to me. But I concluded that this was the only way forward, that we have to stop resisting the government, because the more we push against it, the more it gains power from other people who want to push back. And instead of pushing against it, I think what we have to do is work around it and ignore it. And the agorism really works for me that way, because it's about free markets and free trade. And it's not about more government or less government. because I don't want more or less government. I don't want any.